Wow. All right, so today we're going to talk about running form. And those two clips you just saw were some of the best races of my life. I could count on one hand, 5 fingers, how many great races I've had in my career. And I've done hundreds of races. But first clip, 5K high school, my senior year conference meet. Ran 15:17 for 5K. We had really fast courses in Oregon. I measured the course with my digital wheel. I actually ran 15:07, but it ended up being 4.9K. Go figure. And then in college, my junior year at Cornell, winning the Ivy League conference, 10,000 meters on the track, sub 30 minute 10K. I did run 3 sub 30 minute 10Ks, but that was the best one because it was tactical. It was a negative split. And the important thing with these races, I was running well, running fluid, fast stride rate. Of course, at 5K, 10K, it's easier to have a faster stride rate over 180 steps a minute, but I was feeling good. I was dialed. I was super fit, at least for the time. And I had a lot of speed work under my belt. I was able to run very efficiently with my best form, my most efficient form. And you could see it in the video analysis. You could see the power stride. You could see the high turnover, the upright form. Things are looking good. Now we fast forward 12 years later and we're looking at, well, more than 12 years since high school. We're looking at my running form in some of the races, like, I don't know, the Copenhagen Marathon or some of these mountain races I've been doing, like last year, Golden Trail Series. And my form sucks. Like, I'm not climbing well. It's not looking good. Things are falling apart. Things are faltering. And I've noticed that. It's the difference between me running the first time I ran Mount Washington in 58 minutes and 26 seconds versus running over 60 minutes at Mount Washington. The power stride is not there. The speed is not there. It was there before Boston, maybe last year after I won that 15K on the roads in Portland, Oregon, Shamrock Run. But after that, things start falling apart. And I start thinking, why? Why is that? Why does our running form change over time, sometimes in negative ways? And sometimes it's because of injury. Sometimes it's because, I'm in my 30s now, or getting older, right? And certain lifestyle factors like sitting for long periods of time, going to work, sitting in the car a lot, big commute, working at your desk with poor running form, or poor sitting form, I should say, right? Bent over, tight hip flexors, not activating the glutes enough or your butt muscles, getting the lazy butt, tight hamstrings, things like that. So lack of flexibility, mobility, but also specific training focus where you don't do enough speed work. We got the ultra slog, the ultra shuffle. And, some of this is genetic. Some of it I'll get into here with running form, the genetic idea of different slow twitch to fast twitch muscle fiber characteristics, but also our hip extension, how we run, what our most efficient form is. It's not always poetry in motion, right? Now, I don't have textbook running form. I've never had great running form, but in those clips, and me in high school, me in college, running 5K, 10K, I had good running form. When I ran 2:16:52 in the marathon, pretty good running form. We could pull up clips for that as well. But I think you could get back into getting more efficient form and getting faster, and most importantly, reduce the risk for injury if you address form constantly. It's a constant struggle. And obviously running faster, doing speed work, periodized training, we get better at our efficiency patterns, our movement patterns. So, right, why do we do hill sprints? Why do we do strides? Why do we do speed work like hill repeats? Why do we do 200 meter, 400 meter, even kilometer repeats, 800 meter repeats? It's not just for VO2 max power or to clear lactate, to do all these other things. It's a neuromuscular coordination thing where we're developing power and strength in the stride, as well as, some weight stuff in the gym. I'll get on that in a minute here, squats and stuff. But we're developing power in our stride. We're developing a higher turnover, and we're trying to iron out the kinks and flaws in our form, right? When you have to sprint pretty fast for 100 meters, you can't be heel striking or running with a really slow stride rate, right? You're not going to be sitting in the saddle a ton if you're trying to run a 15-second 100 meter, right? 60-second 400 meter pace, 4-minute mile pace, right? So it helps iron out those flaws. And then the idea is that when you run a marathon or you run an ultra, you're just more efficient overall. You're running with good form even when you're running a lot slower. Now, obviously, the game changes a bit in ultra marathons, mountain races, where maybe you're power hiking a lot and you have to be efficient at power hiking up hills or, with trekking poles or running down technical trails. That's a little bit different running motion, right? Different neuromuscular pattern. But the idea is that you get this efficiency at a certain high speed and you carry that over with a longer stride rate. You're able to go faster. you're able to capitalize on not getting injured, because you run with poor form, over time things build up, muscle imbalances occur, you could get injured. And so the whole idea is to stay running healthy, not to get that overuse, injury types of problems. And, you know, I've been running year round for 20 years now and put in a lot of miles in my belt, right? A lot of 100-mile weeks, 160 kilometers per week. And things add up over time. And a lot of it comes down to some fundamental things like leg length discrepancy, right? Whole left side of my body is bigger than the right side of my body, right? My left face is not symmetrical with my right side of my face. My left leg is longer than my right leg. Left hand is bigger than my right hand. I'm also left-handed. Most people are not perfectly symmetrical. I think we call people that are perfectly symmetrical models, but I digress there. Everyone has a little bit of a leg length discrepancy, and if you have a big leg length discrepancy, it could cause imbalances which could lead to injury and flaws in your form, a loss of efficiency, but also extra stress on tendons and bones, extra stress on muscles. I also have curvature of the spine, right? Scoliosis. So torquing a bit. And how do we see these things? How do we recognize these things? So say, okay, I'm not running as fast uphill at Pikes Peak Marathon, right? I've split 2:10 on the Pikes Peak Ascent. I only split 2:21 during the marathon this year. It kind of sucked. It was rough. Same thing with Mount Washington. Haven't cracked 60 minutes for a couple years. Got into this pattern of this ultra shuffle, slower ultra shuffle. You get bad habits, basically, reinforcing bad habits, right? Sitting in the saddle too much, but also getting hip tightness from crunched over my computer, editing videos, sitting in the car a lot, not stretching enough, not maybe activating the glutes enough or the fast twitch muscle fibers enough, few that I have, in a constructive way. So what do we recognize to see this? And part of it is running form analysis, video analysis. And I actually went to the CU Boulder Sports Medicine, saw this running form expert, Dr. Christy Barth, and got some video clips here, me running on treadmill, and you could see, this is a basic analysis, we're going to do some more, but I'm just going to scratch the surface here. You could see in this video clip, she pointed out very quickly, you're leaning to the left side on every step. Your left foot, you're just wham, leaning to the left. And I've had some, little SI joint issues, little SI joint pain, always tightness in the hip flexor on the left side. And we see this body weight shift to the left where I'm just jamming that SI joint, leaning with my shoulder pretty hard, leaning my neck. I'm trying to correct it with my head and my neck there. But you could see, because I don't have a shirt on, you could see all the muscles that are firing that are super tight in my lower left back there with every stride. Now that's running a little slower than marathon pace, about 5:30 per mile pace, or I think that's about 3:25 per kilometer pace. Now, you fast forward that, Sandy was filming me in the gym on a treadmill, and it's good to get directly behind someone when you're filming your running form, right? Ideally, you have a tripod, so you're not moving at all, but you want to get right behind them, and you want to get a direct side view as well. We didn't do that in this clip because the gym treadmills had some bars in the way, and there are other people there, but you could see behind, there's also an alarming thing. This is running at the same velocity, 11 miles an hour, 5:30 per mile pace. I think I'll put that in kilometers there. And not only am I leaning to the left, but there's this back kick, the butt kick. And you can see in these two clips, left side, right side, these are almost simultaneously. These clips are going at the same time, except I've staggered it so I'm one step ahead on the right side. So when I land on my left foot on the left side of the screen, I'm landing on my right foot on the right side of the screen. So we could see simultaneous what's happening, but with each stride, the back kick float, when my back foot lifts up and I get to the highest lift point, I froze it, we see a discrepancy in the leg lift in the back kick. And that's likely because there's a discrepancy in force generation on push-off with that leg. So the left leg, the left glute, Christy Barth confirmed this, got a little bit of a atrophy, smaller butt muscle basically in my left cheek. Left glute's not activating very well. The heel's not lifting as high as on the right foot there. And obviously there's going to be some little imbalances. Your back's not perfectly straight. Again, I have scoliosis, but this muscle imbalance was alarming. Not activating my glutes enough has been alarming because the glutes, the hamstrings are going to provide a lot of climbing power, a lot of stride distance. And as I'm trying to get my speed back to run under 2:19 in the marathon again, or to climb mountains really strong in the summer for mountain running season, looking at it from a muscular point of view, the cardiovascular system can be revved up really well, but if you're not efficient, if you're not developing enough power in your stride, you're not activating the big powerhouse muscles of your legs doing glutes, glutes and hamstrings, the backside of the leg, become too quad dominant. And I think that's kind of happened to my career, getting sloppy, doing the mountain slogs too much, and probably sitting with poor form at my work desk on my laptop. So that's the idea, is to try to straighten these things out. And maybe you could film yourself and see flaws in your own stride, right? You look at the stride rate, how many steps you take per minute. You look at the heel, if you're landing too far in front of your center of mass, right? A big heel strike, or sitting in the saddle, riding way too low. There's all sorts of variables that you could look at in running form here. This is just a brief scratching on the surface. My analysis, I know I'm getting tight in the hip flexors. I stretch those out, trying to activate the glutes by doing more exercises. And so, you know, I rarely go to the gym, but in the last year or so, I've been going to the gym, doing some squats. Here you can see me squatting, not even my body weight. This is only 135 pounds, right? Doing 5 or 6 reps, trying to get down as low as possible. I know you people are going to be like, Sage, you got to get butt to the floor. I'm not going any lower. We're not going any lower in this squat. That's maximum depth for me. I don't have the hip mobility. I couldn't do that without any weight. I fall over backwards. I don't have the mobility, which is okay. You don't need to be super flexible and be able to touch your toes necessarily. Flexibility is not always a great thing when the hamstrings, if you're a distance runner, there's some rigidity that's going to be there. That being said, you don't want it impeding the fluidity of your stride. You don't want it limiting your back kick. You don't want it limiting your hip extension and things like that. So really just scratching the surface. Again, subscribe on here for more running form videos and tutorials. Coach Sandy and I have done a ton. You could check out our Sage Running YouTube channel. One of our best running form videos is on that channel. Link to it in the description below, as well as on Sandy's channel, Running Wild to Believe. Coach Sandy, we did a running form tutorial a number of years ago. These are some of our best videos all around running. Again, majored in ergonomic design, BS, Bachelor of Science from Cornell. Did a lot of movement pattern studies, overuse, injury type of stuff. And just through lay study, as well as coaching others over the years, analyzing my own running form as it's gone ebbed and flowed over the years in the last 20 years of running. Again, with the gym work though, a lot of people think, oh, I need to go to the gym and do this and this and this. Generally, you're better off spending more time running and getting that aerobic development in, as long as you have a good mix in your speed work and injury prevention. That being said, injury prevention, you go to the gym to address flaws, weaknesses, muscle imbalances, to build an all-around strong body so you don't get an overuse injury. But if you really want to be fast, long-distance racing, you need to build that aerobic system and development. And that takes a lot of time, usually more mileage, things like that. That being said, there are individual motor patterns, individual running form things, individual strengths and weaknesses with your fast twitch to slow twitch muscle fibers that will change your form, that will change the look of your form, that will change relative running speeds and things like that. But building the aerobic engine is very important. For people like me who've been running for 20 years year-round, almost every single day, who's run a lot of 100-mile weeks, 160 kilometers a week, I'm looking for that extra edge in the gym, and that's why we're doing more gym work, more squats, concentrated speed work. But again, it depends where you are in your running career, your chronological age, but also your running age. And that's what we've seen in this analysis. Here's to better running form. Here's to a healthier you, best version of you. Hope you can improve this year. Thanks for subscribing on here. It really means a lot to me. Thanks to the Patreon supporters for really making this possible. Again, we've got a new GoPro Hero 7 Black, as well as upgrading the audio system. Coming out with more podcasts with Coach Sandy. Check out our running website, sagerunning.com, for training plans. We've got new updates coming your way. Check out Sandy's channel, Running Wild to Believe. Subscribe on there. Check out her exercise, strength, mobility routine, core routine videos, running form videos. Great resource there. Thanks again, guys, and stay tuned for more.